All right, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Market Trading. I'm your host, Tone Vays. It's time to head off to the airport in a little bit, so we are going straight to the charts. And this will be hopefully a shorter stream. And I still have to make a presentation for BitBlock. Boom, bam, a lot of work. All right, didn't do a video yesterday. Was just hanging out here in Vegas, had a lot of meetings, so we're picking it up today. And let's see what we got. This is the longer term look. Someone suggested, they said, hey, Tone, if you moved your purple outlook, a bar or two to the left, it would work out absolutely perfectly. I don't really want to do that. Not yet. Also, it's possible I could be wrong on the halving. The halving could be in April. And then it would make sense to move everything. Sorry, not to the left, to the right. But there's two things here, right? So I have to move that a couple of notches. I'd have to move that a couple of notches. And then it starts to look better. Also, like I said, September is not really the best month for markets. But we're going to leave it as is for now. And we'll see how it goes. So far, we're in line. Let's see what happens next month. Our weekly chart, well, it's starting to look promising. Man, I saw the price last night when I was going to bed, and it was below 26,000. I'm like, oh man, that doesn't look good. Waking up right now was also just 26. Now it's 26.5. Looks like it's rising this morning. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. But at which point would I actually be super bullish again on Bitcoin? Unfortunately, based on this weekly chart, the price of Bitcoin would still need to go above $30,600. What about our allocation? Our allocation was 20%. In hindsight, should have went all the way to cash, but that's okay. We can live with a 20% bullish allocation. Our moving averages have not all fully crossed yet. However, when the intermediate term moving average crosses below the long-term moving average, and the price is below all of them, and they are all declining, not only is that an environment for a cash position, that is actually an environment for a 100% short position. I'm not planning to short Bitcoin in this market, this close to the halving. However, I will be comfortable in an all cash position. Right now, I'm just waiting for a little bit of a pullback. I might even go to all cash if we get closer to like 28,000, because I'm still very, very concerned that this area is now acting as very critical resistance, and getting back above 28,000 is going to be very, very challenging, which is why I was hoping we would never fall below 28,000 to begin with. In a perfect world, the 128-day moving average would have been support. It should have been support back here initially. Well, I was hoping we would never break the 50-period moving average, but when we did, this $28,000 area should have been resistance. After that, like we had a chance to go to 27 for a minute and then go back up. All of that has failed. We had an MRI buy. The MRI buy was not in a good place. And as I stated, you see this blue line? Only above this blue line would I become bullish on the daily scale. And in the last hour or so, because I was just working this morning, I had no idea that we've broken that blue line that is sitting at $26,300 or at $26,250, I guess. I had no idea we had broken it. It must have just happened. Yeah, it just happened. Let me go to the hourly chart. When did this happen? Yeah, this just happened. It happened 2 hours ago. Okay, that was the noon candle New York time. And right now we're almost at 2 p.m. New York time. Yeah, this just happened. So the break of this green star candle on the 1 hour chart, the break of the MRI resistance line, which was lowered from the prior MRI resistance line. So if we never got another MRI buy right here and 2 p.m. yesterday, then we would have broken the MRI resistance line last hour instead of the hour before that. Either way, this is a very, very bullish side, but only on the daily scale. Only on the daily scale. Because there is going to be one hell of resistance at 28,000. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to have a good chance to break it. So that final 20% bullish position that I have, that might be a good time for me to go full cash. And if we get rejected at 28,000, there might be a short trade on the table. There might actually be a short trade on the table. This late in the game, this close to the halving, the charts just look disastrous. And I still think Binance is gonna cause some waves, and the government's not done wreaking havoc. And clearly, people with a lot of Bitcoin, like Elon Musk, still have them to sell. So it's not going to be easy getting out of this bear market. Personally, my biggest challenge right now is believing that this double bottom is here to stay. You guys know my views on double bottoms. The last thing I wanted to see was Bitcoin at 25,000, because Bitcoin at 25,000 opens up every possibility to the downside, including lower lows. Now, I don't think lower lows are coming. I still don't believe we're going to go lower than 15,000. But because we double bottomed the 25, it is now possible, where I didn't even think it was possible before. Now it's possible. It's not likely. I give it maybe a 15% chance that the price of Bitcoin will go lower than 15,000. But about 2 weeks ago, when the price of Bitcoin was still above 29,000, for example, I would have only given it, say, a 5% chance that we're going to go lower than 15. Now that we double bottomed the 25K, my chances of going lower than 15 go up to 15%. All right. And we're still rising. Beautiful. GBTC, look at that. See, this is what I really like to see. 1 day upswing, and look how much GBTC discount is driving towards zero. That's a good sign. That means that when Bitcoin breaks out to new highs, eventually it will, I expect GBTC discount to be back above 20%. Now let's talk about oil. Man, oh, maybe the data is out. I'm streaming this a little bit later than I usually do. Let's see if the data is out. So the data we are looking for is how much oil did the US government sell last week. So we're going to get the oil numbers for last week's sales. So we're getting them today for last week or the August 7th sales. I don't know. I forget. Did some drinking while in Las Vegas. Did the data come out? Okay. Let's see. 818. Do we have 818 in our spreadsheet? No, we don't. The data is out. Let's see what this data says. And the government has purchased more oil. Okay, so they purchased more oil after selling it most of the year. They purchased another 600,000 barrels. The data comes out on 818. Which week 4 of data is that? Let's go back. 818 is the data point. Release date, that's the next release date. Wait, release date 8/23. No, wait, 8/23 is today. Did I not put it in the spreadsheet last week? Hold on. This is where it didn't change. This is where it went up by a lot, went up by 1 million barrels, and then 600,000, and then 600,000 again. Okay, so this is the 818 data. All right, so today's data is not out yet. Why wasn't it in the spreadsheet? This is the 818 data. That's strange. Okay, so the data for 818, that should be a Friday. Let me check. 818 is a Friday. So, oh, I'm sorry. This just came out today for last week's data. That's the data for 818. So this is last week's candle. And let's check that candle. So last week, the price of oil dropped a little bit while the US government added oil to the supply. That is unexpected. That is unexpected. That is also rare. I can't remember the last time there was a candle that was red on the price of oil where the government purchased oil. Usually it's the other way around. Usually when the government purchases oil, it drives up the price of oil. When the government is selling oil, it drives down the price of oil. So this is very, very interesting. The price of oil dropped last week while the government still bought 600,000 barrels. Let's see where this goes. Someone is saying that Prigozhin died in a plane crash. Prigozhin's been in Africa the last few days. This is news to me. If he died in a plane crash, it would have been in Africa, and it doesn't really make sense. Who would take him out? I don't see why Putin would do it, because Prigozhin would be useful down there in Africa with Niger's military overthrow of the government. And the Wagners were going to defend and prevent Nigeria and other countries from coming back. I haven't seen the news. We will find out. We will find out. I haven't seen it yet. Someone just sent me the article. I mean, he's already in Africa. Here's the article people are referencing. I don't know. Sky News. I mean, it's propaganda website is telling you this, so I would be careful. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, like it's, you know, I don't trust Sky News, but I mean, where did it crash is the question, right? Like over what? Over what area? A former British intelligence officer has said he received information. I mean, I don't believe this stuff. I mean, it's I don't believe I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't listen to this. Like, this is potentially true, maybe. I'd wait. Russian emergency services. I found, but like he's already in Africa. Well, like I don't get it. Well, like, did he fly back to Russia? Like I don't know. It's I'm not gonna dive through this on live air, but he's been in Africa for a few days. He's been over in Mali, right next to Niger, getting ready to potentially defend Niger from Western militaries. How do I get rid of this thing? 10 died when aircraft came down on a flight from Moscow to St. Petersburg, according to the military. Right, but he's not, like, yesterday he was in Africa. Like it's possible that he flew back to Moscow and going to St. Petersburg. It's also possible, Russian built a teleporter, right? But I don't know. I would, unless my knowledge that he was in Africa already is incorrect, which is also possible. I wouldn't, and it also doesn't really matter all that much whether he's alive or not. Like it doesn't change anything in the war. It makes Niger, it's bad for Niger, though it doesn't really matter that much for Russia. He gave a speech yesterday in Africa, but today he's in Russia. All right, maybe. I mean, again, it's I don't think people realize how huge Africa is. It's bigger than Russia. It's not exactly a short flight. I guess I mean, it'll be clear in the next 24 hours. I try not to, jump to conclusions. Oh, natural gas. Natural gas did not bounce off the trend line. That is also a bit surprising. And it's good for Germany. So with natural gas not being able to break, lots of weird things in the market right now. Henrik asks, no, it absolutely makes sense to use Consensio on markets, on QQQs, on the NASDAQ. Yeah, that's what it's meant for. It's meant for these bigger assets. It's not really meant for, say, Apple stock. It's mostly meant for these larger assets. So just like with Bitcoin, exactly like Bitcoin, this double bottom is not a good sign for natural gas, and it is very likely that it'll go lower. But a daily MRI buy is coming in 2 days. So that's good. Gold is starting to rally. Again, I don't like double bottoms here. Like everything is double bottoming. Bitcoin, gold, natural gas, oil isn't. Let's see where the S&P 500 is. S&P 500 is not. S&P 500 is in a great area to rebound. Also, look, the S&P 500 is rallying, and so is Bitcoin. Let's see. Look at today's candle on the S&P. Looks like the S&P. I was hoping it would have a few more days of downside to give us a beautiful second consecutive MRI buy. As you guys know, I am bullish on the S&P. I am the only one out there that's bullish on the S&P. Everyone else has been throwing in the towel forever. I still think the S&P is going to new all-time high. If not this year, then very, very likely next year. Let's look at the DXY. Oh, is this going to be on all the charts now? Shit. Okay, I need to drop this. What do you use to watch domestic global liquidity? I don't. I don't. I just use my eyes and I see how the markets are. Like liquidity is kind of irrelevant. Liquidity just tells me whether the market is going to be more volatile or less volatile. But liquidity doesn't help me figure out whether the market is going to go up or down. Technical analysis helps me determine whether the market is going to go up or down, but liquidity does not. So I really couldn't care less if there was a lot of liquidity, or if liquidity is drying up, or liquidity is being added. All that tells me is when there is a lot of liquidity, markets are more stable. When there is little liquidity, markets are more volatile. But in which direction, I cannot, I don't know. Liquidity doesn't give me any hints as to which direction it can go. Just like right now, there's very little liquidity on exchanges, which means Bitcoin price is more likely to be volatile. But which direction is the volatility going to move to? Is the Bitcoin price going to go up or down? I use technical analysis to give me a slight advantage over a 50% coin flip. And then I use risk and position management to make sure that when I'm wrong, and I will be wrong quite often on which direction the market is going to move, that I get to trade another day. So I am bullish on the US dollar because I am very bearish on the euro. I don't understand how the euro is still this strong. I don't understand how the British pound is still this strong. These are the things that baffle me the most. I don't get it. I really don't. What is that green line? Is that like a monthly trend line or something? So I don't get it. If that was a monthly trend line that got broken, it still works like this. That's not bad. That fits the trend line parameters. And now this one, oh, that's an MRI top on the monthly level for the British pound. This might be it for the British pound. I just don't get it. This double bottom is going to break. This is the British pound has hit its all-time low. It's like a shitcoin. Right here in 1985, it bounced one candle off the MRI buy on a large monthly scale. 1 month off, man, that's pretty good. And one candle off, I should say. And then in the more recent history, this line doesn't really make sense anymore, but that's okay. In the more recent history, unfortunately, we didn't make it to the second consecutive MRI buy. We stopped just short of that. So this would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, was halfway there. And we rallied. And I just don't see how the British pound is going to stay above parity with the US dollar going forward. I just don't see it. So pound is going down, euro is going down. What else is in the basket? The yen's in the basket. The yen's devalue. Oh, that's euro yen. Hold on. Here's dollar yen. The yen's devaluing and will keep going. I don't know if Canada's in the basket. I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't think anyone cares about Canada. The Swiss franc's in the basket. Where's the dollar franc? Should put that up here. I don't think the Canadian dollar, maybe it is. Hold on. DXY components, DXY composition. Oh, damn, the Canadians got in there somehow. Oh, well. Oh, and they're at Swedish krona. Okay, yeah. Canadians are in there, Swedish krona, and the Swiss franc. So let's check those. So I should probably put Canada. Oh yeah, Canada is right. Yeah, Canada has a higher component than the Swiss franc, and then SEK, and then I'll put. Wait, was it SEK or NOK? SEK. The Swedish are in there. So SEK, NOK, and what's the other one? Denmark and Finland. They're all the same. They're all the same pretty much. The whole Scandinavia region. It's not much difference. Some governments are dumber than the others, like Finland, for reasons I'm not going to get into. Why do you insist on the euro-US dollar going down? Because Europe is a disaster. Oh, the US is doing way better. Way better. For two reasons. One, the US is trending towards Marxism in a slower way. Europe is like no one in Europe, like no one runs Europe that's actually elected. Like at least in the US, there are still some elections. The European elections don't matter at all. The European Union runs Europe, which is an unelected government, and Europe has become the Soviet Union of the 1960s. The Europeans just have not realized this yet. They will eventually. It'll be too late then, but they'll realize. Europe is also more likely to completely break up, or like I've always been of the belief that Europe will break up into its components because they will reject Marxism and communism. But I may be proven wrong. And so far, I have been proven wrong. And it seems that the Europeans want to be part of a Marxist former Soviet Union empire, which is why I don't really have an interest going back to Europe. I just don't want to support that. So either the European Union breaks up and there is no euro, and as it's breaking up, the euro will crash against the dollar, or the European Union will like completely get rid of all sovereignty, and they will join together under, you know, a joint flag of NATO and European Union, and each country just surrenders their old flag. Like, again, the Soviet Union took over 14 countries under their own flag. Stalin was mostly did that. Lenin started it. Stalin really did it. So, like the European Union does not have a good path. I think that the best path for the European Union is to get rid of the euro, completely break up, get sovereignty back, elect leaders that care about the people of their country and not about Klaus Schwab's agenda. I don't think that's going to happen. They need to elect more Orbans and less Scholz and Sunaks and Macrons. They need to elect less of those people and more people like Orban. But there's almost none, right? You have Marie Le Pen over in France, and that's about it. Like, who else you got over there that cares about the people of their own country? So Europe's got a big problem. Europe's got a big problem. Either way, shit's going to hit the fan. All right, guys, I need to get ready and go to the airport. The member states are sovereign and each country has a veto. Whatever dream you're living in, Nick, you really want to snap out of it. That's not true. Like, you think that's true because they told you that's true, but that's not true. Like that's a dream world. Good luck with that. Each country has a veto, but if the president of your country, and almost every president except Orban, is not going to veto shit because they don't care about you. Whatever country you live in, whether you live in France or in Germany, your leader doesn't give a shit that you are French. They couldn't care less. They care about all the migrants coming into your country, destroying your sovereignty more than they care about you, the French, or whatever, the Austrian, or wherever European country you're from, the Dutch, or you can keep going. You got one European leader that cares about his people, Orban. That's the list. Yeah, I mean, again, France and Germany have most of the say. Like Germany has the most say, France has the next most say, and together they have by far the most say. But they're not going to say anything because the people in charge of those countries don't give a shit about their people. That's the problem. That's your problem. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. We really should do a Twitter space with a Financial Summit Twitter handle, but kind of busy flying around everywhere and speaking at conferences. But it looks like the rate's going to stay steady. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.